Hey guys, it's Miss Courtney and I'm here today to talk about another painting we're going to do. I don't have the painting to show you because I am going to paint it in this video. So you'll go into this video not knowing, which might be exciting. Who knows? The first thing we need to do is to remember we need to protect our workspace. I'm working on my studio table. It's a little messy and it's okay to get paint on it, but at home, you might be at the kitchen table or at a dining room table or wherever, and you want to make sure that your work table is protected. So put down a newspaper or something. I also am using today canvas paper, and it comes in a pad, but it's canvas, and it's good for oil paints and acrylics, so this is perfect. If you're using just a heavy paper, it might soak up a lot of the paint, so if you can switch, you can use a canvas board or canvas, so either one of those things. We need a palette. I'm just using a styrofoam plate because it doesn't absorb the paint. It's usually easier. You can use plastic plate or something. It is going to wash off, but not your kitchen plates that you eat your dinner off of. We also need some brushes, and we just need a variety of brushes. I have just a couple to show you. Any brush will do, just a small one and a larger one. Today we're going to use a darker blue paint. This one says real blue, but it can be any kind of dark blue paint. We need a white paint. So just white, and I'm using fluid acrylics. You can get it at any craft store or Walmart or really anywhere. I'm using this real yellow, even though other yellows are real yellow. This one is real yellow. And then if you have a Sharpie, that would be great. If not, you can grab some black paint, but Sharpies are good too, just to crispen the lines. So we need that, and I think other than that, we're good to go. So I taped down my canvas paper so it doesn't slide around. That's why I have this blue tape here. You don't need to tape your canvas down or your board down, but if you have a canvas paper like this, you might need to tape it down. So we're going to do a forest scene at night. So this is a landscape. And the landscape is going to have a background, a middle ground, and a foreground. So what we're going to do is kind of map out our painting first before we start painting. And I want the moon to be in this painting. So I'm going to sketch in, and I kind of already did sketch in a circle. We're going to kind of sketch in a circle where I want the moon to be, and that's going to be the whitest white of our sky. The rest is going to be all blue. And then I need to sketch in the foreground, which is the grass line in the very front. And it's going to be down at the bottom of my painting. So what I'm going to do is kind of make this line. It doesn't have to be perfectly straight because we know it's organic and it's not perfect. So I'm going to do this. Okay, I'm not doing it too high up because I want room for everything else. The background is going to have some hills in it, mountains, I guess you could say. So I'm going to kind of sketch some like this. I don't know if you can see it on the video. So what I'm going to do is I'll darken my line in. Hopefully you can see that. Yeah, I think you can. I'm going to go like this. And then I want another one to kind of go like this so that it's, see how it goes in front of it? Kind of alternates like that so that we don't have it, we don't have like two humps. And I'm going to darken this line in so you can really see it. Is that a little better? I think it is. I'm not going to darken in the moon because I don't want to see the pencil line, but I can see it on the video, so I think you can see it. So I have the foreground here. I have the background, and then the moon. And then the middle ground will be the layers of trees that are going to be here. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm going to switch some things up. And that's okay. I'm going to use my eraser, and I decided I want to move this line up a little bit. So what I'm going to do I'm going to erase this line. And that's why we plan it out. Because if we went into painting it just like this, we couldn't do that with paint. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my mountain line here like that. Yeah, that's much better. So see what I did? This will be the foreground. This will be the background here, okay? And the middle ground will be the trees. Perfect. I like it. Okay, so we have our sections mapped out, and that's really all we need to sketch out. The trees we're going to add in with black, so we don't need to draw those in. So we're ready to go ahead and start painting our different sections of our landscape, okay? So remember, gather those paints, and if you haven't already, pause the video and go get them and meet me back here. Okay, we are back and ready. I have my palette ready to go, and what I'm going to do is, shake it up a little bit. Make sure the cap's on when you shake it up. It's happened to me before, that's why I say it. We're going to put a little bit of the blue, the dark blue on our palette. And then I'm going to put in the white. And what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to put in the yellow. And I'm going to tell you why. When we use yellow, mix yellow and blue, which we'll do a little bit later, what color do you get? And if you said green, you are correct. So a lot of times what people do is they'll paint the sky like a dark blue. It's nighttime. And they paint the moon yellow. But then the yellow gets into the blue paint. And then eventually around the moon, what color do you have? Yes, you have green. And green is not in the sky. We don't want it in the sky. So we're going to do we might put some yellow hues in it at the very end. Okay? So we just have blue and white. All right? So we're going to get, I have just let's see. Hopefully I told you to get a water container too. If not, and if you were ahead of me and already did it, you are smart. And if you didn't, I am sorry. I did not tell you to get water. So we have a couple different brush choices. I'm going to use, I think I'm going to use this brush. It's my smaller flat brush. If you have one that's bigger than that, that's fine. You can use it, okay? And what I need to do first is I need to fill in the moon with the white. I know the canvas is already white, but I want to show you why I'm going to do that. I need to put paint down because around it, I'm going to paint with the blue. So the moon, I'm just going to get my white paint and I'm just going to fill in that moon, that circle. Okay, really easy peasy stuff. Just like that, fill it in. Now around it, I'm going to get a little bit of that blue. Okay. And I'm going to go in a circular pattern because the sky's kind of going to show that the moon that's radiating its light. So make sure you're careful of the mountain range at this point. So we're going to go like this, okay? And I'm going around. And again, if you watched the video before and you remember, we talked about movement in paint. We want colors to live together. And I just dipped it back in the white and went around like this. Because I'm showing that lighter color because the moon is radiating its light. And we're going to go like that around the moon. And again, at the very end, I'll put in some yellow hues to show that warm light of the moon. But right now, I'm using the white. And see how I'm just going in kind of a circular pattern, and you see the blue, the dark blue, and you see the white of the moon, just like this. Okay, I think we have, and let's do that. So you can see the circular pattern. Now here's where it's going to get tricky because we don't want to extend the circle over the mountain range. So what I'm going to do is my very darkest blue, I'm going to go right close to the mountain range and put in my blue and kind of make that border right here like this. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is move it around and up. So now I can still put the circular pattern, but it's going to go right into this blue line. So watch what I do. I go like this and I move it around in like a circular pattern. So I'm not going straight. Ooh, whoopsie. That happens sometimes. My brush comes off because I get it really wet. I have it still go in that circular pattern because if I went straight across, it would look really weird. Brush strokes are really important in painting. They create movement. They draw your eye in. So we want to make sure that our brush strokes are intentional. And intentional is a fancy art term too. So I'm going like this and I'm just extending the blue upward like this. And I'm still making sure that it's kind of still going in a circular pattern, okay? Because I want this to show the moon's radiating light. And see how I'm not completely filling it in? That's perfectly okay. You don't need it to be completely filled in. If you want to around here to be darker, you can. It's really up to you. And all right, I think I'm going to put a little bit more white around. I'm going to wipe my brush off and get my brush into the white and kind of make that lighter blue around the moon like that. So it really shows, it really looks like the moon's glowing. I love it. Okay. So I like the sky. I like what I have so far. I'm going to do a little bit of starry night action so it looks more like nighttime. And again, this is white. We painted white in it. We'll paint some yellow in it after we're all done. But I'm going to do a little bit of stars. And I don't know if you remember, we did splatter paint on previous videos, but we're going to get our brush that's kind of rounded. We're going to dip it in water. I'm going to dip it in the white paint. Oh, it has, I don't know if you can see, I didn't clean it very well and it has a little pink. So if you're going to use a brush, make sure you clean it. Don't be like me. I just really quickly rinsed it off and it's got a little pink tinge on it. Let me see if, oh. Okay, I think that's done. All right, I'm going to dip it in the water, dip it in the white, and dip it quickly back in the water again to get it really wet. And what I'm going to do is tap, 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 tap. And look what happens. It's creating like a starry effect in the night sky. So it's going to make it look like night a little bit more than just having our moon. And we don't want a whole lot. I just did a little bit. I think that's going to be enough. And we can put our brush back in the water. So we are done with our sky at this point, except for the yellow, which we'll do at the very end. Next, we're going to start to do the mountain range. And that's going to be a darker color that we're going to mix together. Okay? So if you're not done with the sky, keep working. And if you're ready for the next step, you can meet me back here. Okay, we are ready for the next step. We are going to make a new color for the mountain ranges. And we're going to do just one color for both, I think, or maybe one a little darker. We'll see what we can do. So we're going to make a dark green. And to do that, we need our blue, we need our yellow, and we're going to need a little bit of black, because we want to make it a little bit darker hue, and I don't know what green we're going to get out of this blue and yellow. So we have the blue here. We should have some from the palette from the sky. If you don't, you can just pour some more on. And I'm going to put a little yellow, and like I've done before and you've done, we are going to separate it a little bit because we're going to mix in the middle. And I'm only going to put a little bit on, and then I'll show you what we're going to do. Right in here, we're going to make our dark green color. We do that by taking some blue and then taking some yellow. And we're going to do a little at a time because remember, we can't take away, but we can add. So that's pretty dark, but it's still pretty blue. So we need to add some more yellow. And that's a little better. It's still light. So what I might do at this point is I'm going to see what adding a little black does. So I'm going to put a little black on my palette. Whoops. Oh, that's a lot of black. Hopefully you didn't do what I just did and put a ton of black on. We're going to take a little bit of the black and we're going to mix it in. Yeah, that's much better. See how we have this, it's like an olivey green. Let's get a little bit more black. Okay. What we're going to do with this is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to paint this longest mountain range. And I'm actually going to follow the line here where the mountain meets the ground. And we'll do this. And you see how my paint, when you go like this, you can see the white. We can dip it in a little bit of water and then really spread it out. The water helps the paint get into all those nooks and crannies of the canvas or the canvas paper. The canvas board doesn't have so much, but this canvas paper has a lot. So we're going to do this. And we're going to fill this whole mountain in. And I'm just kind of doing it really rough. It's okay if you see the brush strokes because it'll give it some interest. And actually, what would be a better brush than this thin one is our thicker, wider brush. So I'm going to go ahead and get that one out. Yeah, much better, much easier. There we go. So I'm going to go like this and hope I don't run out of that green. I think I'll be able to extend it. Because I don't want to remix it. And right here by the sky, we just want to kind of follow that line so that we get a nice mountain range line. Okay, so we're filling that part in. Nice. I think I'm going to have enough green paint. Hooray. And if you use too much water, this is what's going to happen with acrylic paint. It gets a little light and then it's hard to go back over it until it dries. So we're going to let that dry a little bit and then we'll go back over it. And we're going to have trees coming in front of this, so it really doesn't matter. Doesn't matter anyway. Okay. So I think this mountain range, we're going to do a little darker so that there's perspective. It would make sense the darker one was in front of the lighter one. So we're going to make a green again, but we're going to make it a little darker. So we're going to get that blue and we're going to get that yellow. And if you have the green already mixed up, then you're good to go. But if you don't, like I ran out of my green, I'm going to remake it. And it's okay if it's a different color because it's a different mountain range altogether. So We're gonna get that black in there, and we're going to really make it a darker, yeah, darker green. Perfect. See how that's a darker green? It's gonna look really nice. Okay, we're gonna do this mountain range, the darker green, and it's almost gonna look like a black, but it's not. It's like an olivey color, and that is the back mountain, which is the one further away. So further away is gonna be darker, and it's gonna show us a good perspective. So right here where you have the mountain ranges that meet up, I'm gonna try to move my hand so you can see. Let's do it this way. We're going to really make sure we go along that edge with a nice sharp edge like that, so that there's no white in between. It's a little tricky. So if you have a thinner brush, you can do that if it's easier for you. I'm going to move my light just a little bit so the glare is not so much. For me, I don't think I think on the camera it's not so glaring, but on my paint, I just see a lot of shine. So if I move the light, that's why. And then I'm going to switch my brush to this thinner brush again, just so I can get that nice sharp line. I might get a little bit of water to extend this because I don't want to run out of paint. Oh. Okay. I think that looks pretty good. I have some white. If I can, I turn it, I can see I have some white. And my palette is high on a little shelf so that I have space to shoot the video. So you'll see my hand sometimes going up, and that's why. So if you can, you want to try to fill in so you don't see any of the white there. It's kind of hard. Right here by the sky. So we're going to fill it in, make sure we really fill that in. Okay, so you should have a sky. And then you should have a darker mountain range here. That's the one that's furthest away. And you can tell because of the color change. This one is closer in front of us because it's a little lighter. And if it's nighttime, you can see close to you. Further away is darker. And that's why we're doing it this way. The grass right here, I think we're going to even do a lighter green. So we're going to get our mixing again. And we're going to mix some green up. And we're going to get some blue. And let's mix enough that we're not going to run out. I'm saying that to you, but I really am saying that to me. I keep running out of the green. So I don't know if I want to add black to this because I want it to be the lightest of the greens. I want it to be lighter than this mountain range here. So let me just see how light this is. Kind of looks the same, doesn't it? So let me get a little bit more yellow. Here we go. It's a little lighter. Oh yeah. See, it's subtle, but you can tell. So we're going to do this. And I'm going to go along this mountain range right here. And I'm just going to fill this in so it's a nice hard line. Okay. And this is going to be where we see the that middle ground. Okay, once I fill in right there along the mountain, I'm going to go ahead and fill in this whole part right here. And I'm going to just go like this. And we're not really going to use any kind of technique. We're just going to fill it in because we're going to have a lot of trees and we're really not going to notice, and we don't want the brush strokes to distract from the trees. So we just want to see that color difference in the depth. Okay, so I'm just filling this in just like this, having it go straight across. Not really using any special brush strokes. I'm just making sure that I cover. And if your paint starts to disappear like my paint. I'm running out of it. Even though I made a lot of it, I can add a little bit of water to stretch it out. So see how I'm stretching that paint out with the water? Once I finish it, that's good. Okay? Just like this. Oops, and I use a little bit too much water here. Perfect. So I want you to continue to do this until you are ready to move on to the next step. And that means you would have your sky done, your 2 mountain ranges done, and then your grassy area right there. And once you're done all of those, you can meet me back here. Okay, we are ready to start the placement of our trees or forest. So the trees that are going to be along the mountainous range are going to be a little smaller than the trees we're going to have right here at the bottom, because the closer we are, the larger the trees really are up here, and then they get smaller further away. So we're going to make some little trees in this area here, not a ton, just some little ones. And what we're going to do is we're really going to do the trees black because it's nighttime, and to make a really dark brown, it's very involved, and I think black will work. So what we're going to do is we should have some black on our palette, and if you don't, go ahead and get some more. And we are going to make some trees that are little, and they're not really detailed. And a lot of times when people or anyone tries to do trees, they try to make these really fine lines, and we're just going to kind of do the outline of the tree. And we're going to use a brush that's a finer point, kind of like this brush. And I'm going to use the black. So I just dip it in, okay? And I'm going to move my palette over so I'm not reaching above through the camera this time. And we're just going to do a couple trees that are close right here. And they're gonna look like little pine trees. So we're gonna just go straight up like that. And then we're going to do something like this. We're just gonna do little swishes. Just like that. Really simple. It's not anything really too detailed. We can do like a cluster right here, and we can have some that are a little taller. And from a distance, they're going to look like trees that are near the mountains. And we're going to do a little cluster of them. Just like that. And then I might do another little cluster right here. We don't want them to go all the way across, because organically we know that a forest isn't like that. Sometimes there's some clearings, right? So we just do a little cluster of the trees, and we're not putting a lot of detail because we just want the kind of the gesture of a tree. Okay, and we have one right there. We're going to do another one. I could make this one a little smaller if I wanted to, or further ahead so it looks shorter, but it's really just closer to us. And then let's do 4 over here so we're not 3 and 3. We want to make it uneven, so it creates a little bit of a balance. Okay, so let's do another one here. Just like that. So we have 3, and I said we're going to do 4, so let's do another one right over here. Cute. Okay, so what we could do is, if you wanted to at this point, I'll just add it as a suggestion. I'm not going to do it on this painting, but if you wanted to, you could make a little tent right there, and this is a little campsite. That would be really cute. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to actually make some trees that are going to be extending up on either side. And I think you could even have a stream that's going to run through here. That would be actually really cute. Can do a stream if you wanted to, or you could just leave it bare like this. I'm going to put another tree right here because I'm just going to do trees. This one's just a little bit over. Okay. So once you have all your elements and you have your trees here, we're going to start the taller trees that are closer to us. So they're going to start right here. And what I might do is have a couple placements, like have a tree start right here, and maybe I'm going to have it extend so it goes through the moon. Maybe have a tree right here that's going to start here, so it's going to be larger, but it's going to look like it's closer to us. And maybe have one about here. So, oh, there's a little bug on my little painting. So I'm going to start with the one kind of in the center. And it's going to start right here. So I'm going to kind of mark it so I know. And it's going to kind of go up. And it's going to be taller, but it's closer to us. So it's going to make sense, okay? So what I'm first going to do is I'm just going to have my brush kind of go up like this. I'm like sketching it out with my paintbrush. So I'm not making a thick line. I'm kind of just sketching it out like this with my paintbrush. And I'm making the two lines that create the trunk of the tree, okay? And then I'm going to have it end about right there. And now I'm going to make it go in a little bit more narrow, and it's going to come across my moon like that, because the tree is going to go in the front of the moon. And then all our tree branches, they're not going to go straight out and they're not going to go down. Branches are extending up, and the bottom branches don't go above the top of the tree, okay? So what I'm going to do with my thin line, and you can also do this with a Sharpie if your painting is dry. So I'm going to show you with a Sharpie so that you know what I'm talking about. Hopefully my Sharpies work. Sometimes they don't. I can start doing this. I can have it go up like that. I can have this go up like that. And then I have this go up like that. And that up like that. And then out of these branches, I can have another branch and another branch and another one. So I have really thin branches. I don't have anything really thick. And as they come into the tree, I can make them a little thicker. Okay. Now, if you're doing it with a brush, you want a really thin brush. And I'll do the next tree with a brush so you can see the difference. Okay. And I'm just doing this until I can fill this in with black, okay? All right. And I might have some little roots like this. You know how trees have those kind of things that stick out. All right, so I want to fill in this trunk. You can do it with a Sharpie, but it's thick enough where we can just go like this with our black. Just like that. And we just fill in our tree. Just like this. So it looks like the tree's in front of the moon, which makes it gives it a nice silhouette. Okay. And you have all the branches. So that looks pretty good. We're not done with the trees yet. So we'll come back and we're going to add some leaves to it. I might thicken these in just a little bit so they're not so thin. Okay. So now we're going to add a tree here and a tree here, and they're going to eventually fill in this area. So you're going to be able to see through it and see the background, but the trees are going to be the main focal point. So this tree, I'm going to start down here so that it gives it a little bit of depth. So I'm going to put a dot so I know that's where my tree is going to start. And I just have it go up as straight as I can. And I'm kind of sketching it out, remember, again, with that paintbrush. And I'm going to have it end right about there. And then I have this one, it's part of the trunk. And when I mean sketch it out, sometimes we fill in the tree with lines. We haven't totally filled it in because we're trying to see exactly how thick to make it or how big to make it. And when you make your tree, you're going to start from the widest width to the very thinnest point. Okay. And then we're going to go up and see how I'm painting these branches. I'm not using the Sharpie. It's a little bit more tricky, and it's okay if your branches are a little thick. Not a big deal. It's all about learning how to paint, and we can't learn unless we make some kind of mistake, or we learn from something we don't like. And if we do our tree and we say, hey, I don't like that, then we're going to learn next time what to do. So I'm doing this, and I've made my branches. Now I'm going to make these just a little thicker as they go into the tree. And I'm going to fill that center part in like this. And I can make those kind of roots at the bottom. Okay, so that's another tree we've done. Now we're going to do a third tree over here, okay? And I'm going to have this tree be maybe a little in the center, a little bit up from this one, but not quite as far down. Or actually, I'm going to make it go a little further down, but not quite as far as this one. So I think I'm going to have it start right here, okay? And I'm just going to go up. I'm going to sketch it out. And my mountains are dry. This paint dries super fast, so that's why I'm able to put my my hand on it. And we just painted that green, and it's already dry, so you know how fast it is. And we're just kind of sketching the tree out. And this painting you can really make super creative. You can put some wildlife in it. You can put some owls in the trees. You can put maybe a deer somewhere on the ground. You can do a lot with it. So I'm just giving you a guide to kind of sketch it out and get the painting, a good basic part of the painting done. And then you can do whatever you want with it. You guys always do better than I do anyway. So okay. So I have 3 trees, and it's starting to look like a landscape. We might add another tree, and we could add more. Maybe we'll add another one right here, since we have 4 here, and this will balance this out. So I feel like that's a good idea. We'll put another one right here, and then we'll start adding some leaves into the trees and fill these out so it looks like a real forest. Okay, so it just doesn't look like 3 trees in the middle of our landscape. And if you want to too, like right over here, oh, I think I'm going to add a tree right here. It's a good idea. Maybe I'll add one right here, just so the corners aren't forgotten. So we're going to go all the way up, and our trees are going to start overlapping with the branches, and that's exactly what you want to have happen. You want the trees to kind of overlap like this. See how they go on top of each other? That's what a forest does. You can't tell really which tree branch belongs to which tree. So I love how that's happening there. That looks really good. Okay, so maybe we're going to do another one right here. Okay, so that we can have this kind of overlap. So let's do one right here. And this is going to be a smaller one because it's a little further back. Okay. So we're going to sketch it out. We're going to have it go all the way up. It's kind of going through this tree. And we're going to have it stop right there because it's further back, so it's not going to be as tall. And we're going to start getting the branches, and they're going to kind of go over top of each other, which is perfect. Just like that. And then if you want to add more trees, you can. I'm not so sure I'm going to add any more. So now what I have to do is I have to add the leaves, some of the leaves onto the tree. We can either do that with the black, or we can add some black but have on top of it some hues of the olivey green. We want it a little darker than this. So I have some of the green on my plate, but I think I might need to mix some more. I don't know if I'll be able to get any. Let me see. Ooh, maybe. So if we mix this black with this olivey green, I can get some paint. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to do leaves that we're going to paint and outline and fill in. We're just going to do this. Kind of put our brush down in some places, not everywhere, but we're just filling in this tree. And it's okay if the leaves go where there's no branches. We're just filling it in, okay? It's because this isn't a Halloween picture. And if we left it just black like that, it kind of looks like a Halloween kind of creepy. So we don't want it to be a Halloween picture. You can do that closer to the fall if you want to. So we're just going to come through and kind of make some leaves, and we're just kind of dabbing our paintbrush like this. We're not really painting as much as just making a mark. And it's okay. We're just making the gesture of a leaf. And you see how I'm just going like this? I'm almost just pressing my brush down. I'm not really making a leaf. I'm not painting a leaf. I'm not making them really huge. Okay, so we're just filling in the leaves so it looks really nice like a forest. And I might need to get some water for this one. And I'm going to move my light just so I can see a little bit. The glare on my painting it's hard for me to see when I'm painting with the light. So I'm just going to move that over. And sometimes it might get a little dark, and that's okay. You can just see the leaves and you can't really see the difference between the leaf and the branch. That's okay because it's nighttime and that happens sometimes. We just want to fill this in so it's making the gesture of a leafy tree. And it's going to look a lot like this mountain, but that's okay. So when you're happy with what you have, like I'm okay with it. I think that I like the gesture. I can add more if I wanted to. I can go ahead and fill it in even further to make it really full, or I can just leave it really lightly done like that. And I think I'm going to leave mine like that and not add anything more to it because I like it. The last thing I'm going to do with this is I'm going to add some yellow to right here, the moon, just to give it a little bit of hue. And I'm thinking maybe I am going to add a tent right there to be like a campsite. What do you think? I think that would be kind of cool. Or maybe I'll add some more little trees. I'm thinking it needs a little bit more right in here. So I think I'm gonna add some more trees to it. Get my thin brush. And sometimes paintings evolve as you do it. I think I'm gonna add some here. I think I just need the background to be a little bit fuller. Yeah, I like that. I'm starting to like it a little bit more. And I don't know if I need more trees. Mom was thinking it might need a little bit more tree. Let's add some trees over here. It's a really dark one. It's okay. I don't know if I need any more. Wondering if I need some here. I'm not sure. I might do some more work on my trees, or I might just leave it. You could do the same thing. So actually right now I'm going to start doing the yellow of the moon, and I want to make sure that my brush is really clean. So I'm going to clean off my brush, and I'm going to get some of that yellow paint, because I don't have any more on my palette. Maybe you do. Some of that real yellow. And I'm going to take the yellow, and I'm just going to put a little bit on just the one side of the moon. I'm not going to paint the whole thing in. And I'm going to actually go over some of it with the white so that it's not such a bright yellow. It's kind of muted. Just so it looks like the moon, and it's just nice and glowing right there. Yeah, I like that. Just a little bit on the outer edge. I think that looks good for the moon. So there you have it. It's our landscape. We have our trees. We have a sky. It obviously looks like it's at night. I do think this needs a little bit more detail in the bottom part, and that's where you can add your own things. You can add a little wildlife or a little tent. It would be really cute. So here's your starting off point for your landscape, and I can't wait to see what you come up with. Okay, bye.